What's up everybody, it's Robin Gaming here. So at this point we are less than 2 weeks away from E3 2017, so we are getting super close to the event. It's getting really awesome now, and pretty much what I wanted to do starting today is pretty much kick off my E3 2017 preview videos, where I'll be talking about pretty much all of the press conferences that we're going to be watching together, and I'll be doing some extra predictions for it, simply talking about, you know, the games we should really expect to be seeing there, as far as the stuff that's already of course been announced, but also hopefully some really cool new announcements that I myself expect or predict to happen. So today I'm gonna kick things off with the EA press conference. The reason why is because we're gonna actually be kicking things off with EA as well at E3 on Saturday in 2 weeks from now. So that's gonna be the first one that we'll be watching together. So I don't necessarily want to start off with like a really on a depressive note, I guess, but the EA press conference to me last year really was like the least interesting and the most disappointing, I guess, press conference that I watched at E3. Therefore, I don't have the biggest expectations from them, but who knows, they could really surprise us. I really hope that they learned from last year, but personally, I really don't see that happening. The reason why is because, and I talked about it recently in a video, EA has really gone downhill for me as a company, because in the past, they used to make at least they were really focused on the, hardcore gamer games, you know what I'm saying, and although they, of course, always have had their sports lineup and stuff, they used to make a good 5 to 10 games every 1 or 2 years or whatever, that would really appeal to gamers like me, you know what I'm saying? And I think that recently they've really fallen back more on the standard properties that they know are gonna make money, and therefore what I really expect from this year's E3 is simply a lot of sports and a lot of Star Wars. That's basically all that EA is really doing at the moment. So I think we should be really lucky, or feel really lucky, if we're gonna see at least 1, 2, or maybe 3 titles that will actually be different than that. So I mean, I don't have the biggest expectations, but let's actually talk about it, right? So like I said, the sports titles will of course have a big impact on that press conference. They're gonna show off the new FIFA 18, the new Madden game, NHL. I heard even NBA is coming back from the dead again. They're gonna try that once more, even though it seems pretty hopeless to me. But I don't really want to, you know, go too in depth on them. Like, you know what to expect. If you like a sports game like FIFA, then you're gonna buy a new FIFA every year. Nonetheless, they're gonna add a couple new things. Last year they added FIFA The Journey. They're gonna have the roster updates, obviously, but apart from that, you're pretty much paying for, let's be honest, a very similar game. But yeah, sports games, or sorry, sports fans, I guess, who really like playing those games, I get it. I get that they want to, of course, play the game for their favorite sports every year again. So this you should definitely expect to be talked about, but I don't personally think it's that interesting really to talk about in a video like this. Another game that is going to be really huge for EA is going to be, of course, Battlefront 2. They already announced it, and it's going to be very similar to the situation 2 years ago where Star Wars Episode 7 came out. They launched Star Wars Battlefront 1 pretty much simultaneously, almost, right? And so this year, they're doing the same thing with Battlefront 2. You've already seen the trailer for it and stuff. We'll see gameplay now finally at the EA press conference. I don't think we got that yet. And they're gonna talk a bit more about, you know, everything they've improved with, and the space battles or whatever that people really wanted in it, that they've now added, and all the features really that a lot of people were complaining about with Battlefront 1 lacking pretty much, that they now will have finally added to the second game in the series. So yeah, definitely also expect Battlefront 2 to really be talked about a lot. I think that's pretty much gonna be like the main game of the show, with at least like a good 10 minutes or something that they'll talk about it in the full 1 hour thing. Another game that I'm personally then still really excited about, that we hopefully will see a lot more of, is gonna be Amy Hennig's and Visceral Games Star Wars game. That's the rumors is pretty much, or we already kind of know it, it's gonna be a big single player Star Wars game that rumors are is heavily influenced by a franchise like Uncharted. So it's gonna be very similar in the way that it's gonna be very cinematic, a big story influence there, you know, hopefully some added gameplay elements, not just a shooter at the same time. So yeah, I myself am really interested in that, especially since Star Wars 1313 got cancelled so many years ago, which looked really cool to me. I've been waiting to hear more of Amy Hennig's game for a very long time now, of course, as a big Uncharted fan myself. So hopefully we'll hear more from that, but I still think that we're not gonna see gameplay yet, because that would kind of like, I guess, make Star Wars Battlefront 2's campaign look a little lesser or something like that, or maybe less exciting exciting in that way, because I think the Amy Hennig Star Wars game is definitely a 2018 title. That's going to be the game they'll release in that year, alongside whatever Star Wars movie is coming out in that year. I think it's the Han Solo movie, right? So, yeah, my prediction really for that is that we won't see gameplay yet. We'll simply see a trailer that will now finally reveal like the name for the game, and hopefully give us a much bigger impression of what this game exactly is going to be about. So I think that's going to be exciting. And we're not even done with Star Wars yet. Like I said, EA has had such a, you know, has really like put almost all of their games on, all of their studios, sorry, on making Star Wars games nowadays, with Criterion, with Respawn, with Visceral Games, with DICE. They're all, BioWare even, I think, they're all working on like Star Wars games at the moment. So it's absolutely crazy. So we could see, for example, Respawn's new Star Wars game. They of course recently released Titanfall 2, which didn't have a big success, unfortunately, with the way EA released that game. But yeah, we might actually see their new Star Wars game as well, but I think that's a little overkill, so I'm pretty much predicting it to be announced next year, I guess. Now let's finally move on from Star Wars and sports, and then this is pretty much what we can talk about as far as other games. We will most likely see, and I think that's almost a definite yes, we will see the new Need for Speed game made by Ghost Games, who rebooted the franchise 2 years ago, and in 2017, this year, EA has already confirmed that they're gonna be releasing a new Need for Speed game, so we're gonna see exactly what that's going to be. It's not really, you know, a big surprise. Of, you know, that's kind of the big thing with EA's press conference, like everything is so predictable, you know. I really don't think we're gonna see many big surprises, sadly. I think it's pretty much gonna be, you know, the stuff you already know about, and even though there's gonna be some games you don't know too much about yet, you know it's gonna be shown, like Amy Hennig's Star Wars game. So the one thing they could really surprise with, in my opinion, is another small game that they did. Like 2 years ago they did Unravel. I think last year they did a certain game that didn't even come out yet, so they could do something similar again now, where they're gonna have this sort of like indie project that they picked up on, that they're funding at the moment for a certain game studio, and then they'll show that off as sort of like an innovative thing, but that's pretty much all there's to it. My big problem with EA is simply that they've dropped so many awesome games. Like, I would really, I mean, a Skate 4 would to me just be mind-blowing, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've been waiting for a new Skate game for such a long time now already. We saw Criterion Games, who had this awesome new extreme sports game IP where you could go into all kinds sorts of vehicles and stuff. We saw that like 3 years ago at E3, and then it turns out that they had cancelled the project so Criterion could be working on Star Wars games. I think they're helping DICE out now with Battlefront 2. I find that such a shame to see. People have been asking for a new Dead Space for so long, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's all these cool games that EA has that they've now dropped in favor of sports and Star Wars, and so really, in my opinion, that's sad and disappointing to see, but yeah, at the same time, we're gonna have to wait and see, and maybe EA can still surprise us. So, with that being said, let me know in the comments what you are looking forward to from the EA press conference. Yeah, what are you looking forward to pretty much? Which are the games that get you excited, and what would you like to see from EA as far as new announcements go? What could really make the press conference awesome to you? So, with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this very first preview video. Look forward to a lot more coming in the near future. So, with that being said, thanks a lot for watching. Leave a quick like to help support my channel, and hope to see you again next time.